All right, so far I have my assets file. I have my stage file. I only have 3 frames completed, right? But I have a good system, a good understanding, and pretty soon I'm going to get to my first keyframe. And my keyframe is when I'll have my character front and center. So I'm trying to get there. So how do I do that? I put everything in place. I'm back down to Rain 1, and I decided I wanted to add the splash now. But maybe I'm not so committed on the splash being 100% opaque or even 74. Maybe I want to make it a little bit more subtle this first time around. So I'll go to 59. Okay, now how do I take the picture of that? I go to my topmost viewing layer, hold down Option, say Layer Merge Visible. Then I take my selected area because I'm panning and hit Command J. And then I move that over to my stage. I can shrink my stage down too. It's the right resolution. I don't need it to be larger than everything else. Okay, so now I have 4 frames. Notice how that camera move is bigger, right? So I told you how I'd speed up my camera move. And you can kind of play your animation just by turning things on. So this is how the animation would run. This, then this, then this. Whoops, sorry. This, then this, then this, then this. Okay, so it does speed up at the end there. Maybe that was a mistake. That's why we do it this way. If it was a mistake to make that bigger jump at the end, I have all the components I need to fix that mistake. So I just say, no, I can't get too anxious. I'm going to add that step. I'm going to hold down Shift, and I'm going to take the same picture at this level. Okay. So now let me retake that. Hold down Option, say Layer Merge Visible, Command J, drag and drop that layer, put it into place. Okay, so now I have something that's not right. So this is the other thing with your stage. Because I replaced a frame, but now I have to delete the old one, because otherwise my animation will run like this. So please look at the white. Right? I don't want it to go backwards. This isn't a shaky cam Blair Witch Project GIF. So all I have to do to fix that is get rid of that frame. And now it should be a nice smooth reveal. All at the same pace. Right? And we can get a sense that the character's kind of moving a little bit, because he's moving a little bit more than the camera is. So it's subtle, but it's going to make more sense now. Okay, now I can get to my hero frame. Finally, which is here. There we go. And I'm going to move my character. In some more. But now I've revealed enough of my character. I don't want to just move him. I don't want it to be him to be a flat cutout that just moves like this. How do I actually change the position of my character now that his eyes and ears and hands are all in the last frame? I can use a technique called puppet warp, right? Because I can just do regular warp. I can Command T him and warp him and say, oh, shift him that way, shift him this way. But that's going to look weird, right? It's going to make him seem like he's a towel or something that's flopping around. So instead, there's this tool in newer versions of Photoshop. You go to Edit, you're on the layer with your creature. The creature has to be nicely cut out. But on that layer, you say Edit Puppet Warp. And what it does is it creates a really quick, messy wireframe of polygons. It's not 3D, it's still 2D. But that allows you many more anchor points to warp. Now here's the thing. If you just start tugging at it, nothing happens. So in order for Puppet Warp to work, you have to set anchor points just by clicking on that wireframe. So I'm going to set an anchor point at the tip of each ear. You think of it like the skeleton. I'm going to set an anchor point at the center of the hands. I'm going to set an anchor point at the shoulder joint. I'm going to set an anchor point at the knees and then at the tips of the feet. I'm going to set an anchor point at the tip of the tail and at the base of the tail. What that allows me to do is then to move these things independently. So I can move his ear a little bit. I can move his other ear a little bit. I can move his hand a little bit. I can move his shoulder. Woo, just a little bit. I can move his foot, just a little bit. His other foot, just a little bit. His tail, just a little bit. You guys get the idea. He can wave to us. Now, obviously, it depends on your frame and on your creature. But when I hit return, that will show me what those movements did. This is Command Z, right? So that's what I started with. That's what I moved it to, or vice versa. I honestly don't remember. Right? So that's what I moved it to. So I'm going to go ahead and puppet warp him, right? Remember, I have my perfect character here. I know I want to get him to here in that pose, but I'm going to puppet warp him to do it. I can also build in different assets. So why don't I have him blink? So I'm going to make an eyelid asset for my character. Very easy. I simply take this group, this part of the eye, Command J. Actually, I'll do it with both eyes. Command J, and I'm going to warp them so that they close in on themselves. The key to making blinking work is to still have a little bit of an opening there. Does he look flirtatious? All right. So if I want to work with that a little bit, I can erase the edges out. I can smooth that transition around the hard edges. It's just like the clouds. It's GIF animation, so it doesn't need to be perfect. But these little movements are going to be effective in animation. Now, in order to know that that's there, I need to label it. Because every once in a while I'll have him blink, but I don't want to ever have him walking around with his eyes closed, right? So that's an asset I'm going to mark with red. And in this frame, yeah, I might as well have his eyes closed. So there he is. And I don't want to have just floating eyes turned on either, right? When my creature is somewhere else. Okay. Now I did rain 1 last time and rain splash 1. Now I'm going to do rain splash 2, turn off rain splash 1, and do rain 2. Right? And I'm going to move the camera to its hero spot. So it's going to stay here for a while. But my character still isn't in position, right? Okay, what do? I go to my, gotta make sure I've got it. There we go. Okay, I go to Layer, I hold down Option and say Merge Visible. Then I hit Command J, and then I go to the Move tool and I drag and drop that frame. Now I have 5 frames, 6 frames rather, and I can kind of get a sense of how that works. Okay, he's kind of jumping in. He looks frolicky. Okay, so now let's play with him a little bit more. First, let's turn off the eyelids. His eyes are going to be open, and I'm going to do something that's called linking layers, so that the eyelids move with him. And to do that, you select multiple layers, you right click and you say link layers. And that way, if I move this one, if I move him like I'm going to, you see how the eyelids will move with him, even though they're a separate layer? Because they're chain linked together. Otherwise, next time I want him to blink, I'll have to go move his eyes into the right place. So he was here. I want to move him in, move him down a little, and I want to puppet warp him. So what do? I say edit, puppet warp. This is the pain with puppet warp. I have to be on the right layer. I am. Oh, this is the pain. It won't let me puppet warp if I have it linked. So I have to unlink it. But each time I move it with the eyelids, I'll have to link it again. So that's annoying. But anyway, puppet warp's annoying because you have to set those anchor points each time. You don't have to do them at exactly the same point, but if you only do it in a few points, this happens. See how his feet are moving? Right? So you have to kind of match the anatomy, especially where the feet are touching the ground. And it doesn't really work to say, okay, I'm going to puppet warp his snout and then move it up and down, right? Unless you have the other anchor points already set. So I'm just going to shift his ears a little bit, shift his arm a little bit, shift his foot a little bit, shift his other foot a little bit, shift his tail, shift his hand. Ooh, look at him go. Right? Okay, so I always do the character first, and then I'll do the settings. So what do I want? I want rain splash 3 now. Turn that one on. Turn off the other. I don't want it to pile up yet. And then rain 3. And then turn my guides on. You can turn your guides on and off for camera moves with command semicolon, which is very helpful. And now I'm going to stay at this hero shot position. I still need to move him in a little bit more to get him there, right? But he's going to dance and kind of frolic there. I go to my topmost turned on layer. Hold down Option, say Layer, Merge Visible. Duplicate my selection, use the Move tool. Drag and drop it onto my stage, lock it in. Now I've got 7 frames. And the camera move has finally stopped. Okay, so if you want to see how the animation looks, it looks like this. Done. You see how he's kind of bouncing? There we go. Okay, next, I'm going to leave his eyes open again. But I'm going to move my character again. Command J. Now, because I'm puppet warping him a lot, I'm going to duplicate him each time before I do it. And because I'm going to move him, I'm going to turn the eyelids on, and I'm going to select them both, and I'm going to link them. So when I move him, the eyelids move with me. I'm going to move him here, because now it's just him moving, and I'm going to open his eyes and unlink them, and then puppet warp. I have to be on the right layer. And puppet warp's a really fun way to animate your character design. Now I can't do major changes. But he can kind of shuffle, right? That's what he can do. So that's what this movement is.